Look at your crypto portfolio. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. You think you're trading digital gold, but you aren't. You're trading casino chips, and the house is printing them out of thin air. Meet Tether, or USDT. It is the invisible plumbing of the entire global crypto market. It's a stablecoin. That means one Tether is designed to equal $1, always. Right now, there are over 100 billion of these tokens circulating in the shadows, and the company behind it made a promise. For every single digital token they mint, there is a physical, real fiat dollar locked in a reserve. Safe, secure, untouchable. It's a beautiful story. It makes you feel safe when the market crashes. But there's just one problem. When regulators finally kicked the door down to look inside that vault, the cash wasn't entirely there. Instead of cold, hard cash, investigators found other assets, commercial paper, even Bitcoin and gold. In 2021, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission hit Tether with a $41 million fine. Why? Because they found that for a 26-month period between 2016 and 2018, that fully backed by fiat promise was only true for about 27% of the time. Let that sink in. Imagine printing over $100 billion. Imagine becoming the central bank of the internet, but you don't have a banking license. You have never submitted to a full, independent audit, and your executives operate from the shadows. What if the greatest magic trick in financial history is just a ghost story? If this ghost ship goes down, it takes the entire trillion-dollar market with it. The only question is, who gets to the lifeboats first? This is Capital Noir. Does that name sound familiar? It should, because Bitfinex also owns Bitfinex, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges on the planet. They share the same executives, the same CEO, and the same CFO, Giancarlo Devasini. Think about the dangerous power of that setup. The guys running the biggest betting table in crypto are the exact same guys printing the casino chips. For a while, the printing press ran smoothly, but traditional banks are terrified of crypto. In 2017, the system cracked. Wells Fargo cut the cord. They stopped processing wire transfers for Bitfinex and Tether. Suddenly, the casino couldn't move its cash. I want you to put yourself in their shoes. The legal banks just locked you out. Your customers panic. You lose everything. What do? You don't close up shop. You go to the shadows. Tether and Bitfinex turn to a third-party payment processor based in Panama, a shadow bank called Capital Corp. They were so desperate, they handed over massive amounts of funds to this shadow entity, and they did it without ever signing a single written contract. Do you know what happens when you give nearly $1 billion to a shadow bank without a contract? It disappears. Crypto Capital claimed the funds were seized by governments. $850 million gone. Bitfinex was bleeding out. The customers wanted their money. The collapse of the entire crypto market was hours away. So, the executives did the only thing they could. They made a phone call, and they decided to cover it up. $850 million doesn't just evaporate. Bitfinex had a massive, lethal hole in their balance sheet. If the public found out, a bank run would destroy the exchange overnight. So, how do you plug an $850 million hole? You borrow from your sister. Remember, the same executives run both Bitfinex and Tether. Bitfinex simply reached into Tether's cash reserves and quietly moved over $700 million. They used the money as a corporate slush fund to hide their massive losses, and they didn't tell their investors a thing. But you can't move nearly $1 billion in the dark forever. Eventually, the regulators caught the scent. When the New York Attorney General finally kicked the door down, she didn't mince words. Letitia James released a brutal, historic statement. She said Tether's claims that its virtual currency was fully backed by US dollars at all times was a lie. She accused them of recklessly covering up massive financial losses in the darkest corners of the financial system. So, what is the penalty for lying to the market? New York fined them $18.5 million. Later, the CFTC hit them with another $41 million fine. To you and me, that's a staggering amount of money. but to a company printing billions out of thin air. That's not a punishment. That's just a speeding ticket. They paid the fines, they submitted reports, they admitted no wrongdoing. But this is where the story stops being about them and starts being about us, because even after getting caught dead to rights, the crypto market didn't care. Instead of collapsing, Tether exploded. The printing press went into overdrive. But if the money wasn't in the bank back then, where is it now? And more importantly, what happens to Bitcoin if the music finally stops? If Tether falls, it doesn't just take down Bitcoin, it takes down the entire crypto ecosystem. Today, Tether claims to hold over $100 billion in US treasuries. That makes this shadow company one of the largest buyers of US government debt on the planet. Let that sink in. They say the reserves are fully there. They say the system is bulletproof. But the exact locations of these assets still hidden behind corporate veils. Meanwhile, the traditional financial system is waking up. Wall Street is building their own stablecoins. The regulators are circling again, waiting for a single misstep. Tether built a $1 trillion casino on a foundation of trust. But in the dark world of crypto, trust is just another word for leverage. And when the leverage finally breaks, the house always wins. This has been Capital Noir. So where does that leave you? We've built an entire financial future on a digital token that materialized out of thin air. It is a global financial experiment. As long as the music plays, everyone feels rich. But in the shadows, the architects are already securing their exits. They know that eventually the phantom liquidity dries up. The next time you look at your portfolio, ask yourself, what is actually holding it up? Is it a vault full of cash, or just a ghost story we all agreed to believe? Stay vigilant, trust nothing. Subscribe to Capital Noir for more dispatches from the dark side of money.